2002, I was the medical officer in Southern Alberta, and as president of the Society of Medical Officers in Alberta, I brought forward a statement following a resolution by all the medical officers that we needed to do more for climate change. We needed to consider seriously the Kyoto Protocol. We in Alberta, as the largest emitters of carbon per person on the planet, have to do more to reduce our carbon emissions. So when I said that in public, I was fired as the medical officer in southeastern Alberta, and I realized that this government doesn't respect professional opinion, doesn't respect free speech, and I needed to get more involved in politics. Politics, as I define it, is negotiating the public interest. So that means negotiating with myself, with my elected colleagues. It means negotiating with the people that I represent, the 42,000 people I represent in Calgary, and it means negotiating with this government. And this is a government that's been in power for 42 years and has, I think, lost its connection to the long-term public interest. They're making decisions that are short-term, financial mostly, and looking at re-election and getting and maintaining power. So in the opposition, that's my role, is to recognize and speak out on their failure to listen to the public interest, to look at the long term beyond the next election, and to act with policies and with programs that serve people and the planet in the long term. That is what I consider to be good politics. Negotiating the public interest with the public at the table, with stakeholders at the table, and with politicians at the table, finding the best solutions for the long term. There are some real advantages to being a politician in respect to advocating for human rights. One, obviously, is that you're in the media, you're speaking in public, you have an opportunity to have an audience that would listen to some of these important issues, the values around equality and justice and the conditions for peace, the conditions for health. So that's a really great opportunity that I've found in the last 8 years in politics. Maybe one disadvantage of being a politician with respect to human rights is that you have to narrow your focus. You can't be speaking about, as a provincial politician, human rights in Africa. People in Alberta want to know that they're representing their interests and focusing on their issues and solving their problems. The Alberta Healthcare system is probably one of the best in the world. It's a publicly funded, publicly administered system. The criticisms I have in Alberta are largely related to mismanagement, the breakdown of trust in the front lines of our healthcare system in relation to the management, and the lack of investment in prevention. We spend 97% of our healthcare budget in this province on treating people after they get ill and injured. Tremendous opportunities for investing in prevention and reducing the demand on hospitals, reducing the suffering, and improving people's well-being through lifestyle changes, preventive programs, and following the basic determinants of health approach, reducing poverty, making sure everyone has a good education, ensuring that single moms have an income that they can live with and their children can survive well with, and ensuring that people are employed and the environment is clean. Those determinants of health have long been recognized as the most critical for improving health and peace in any organization or any country. Well, I had 4 key messages for people who want to, in the long term, fight for human rights, both here and abroad. The first is that we have to care, and obviously the people here at this John Humphrey Center care deeply about basic human rights, and they also have to care about themselves and take care of themselves spiritually and emotionally and physically to be able to do this work for the long term. So by caring, I mean both for oneself and for these rights and freedoms of individuals. The second C word I use is courage, because it does take courage to challenge the vested interests and the selfishness and the fear that often attends a lot of the decisions that are made around limiting people's human rights. The third C word I like to use is community. If we don't have a community around us, it's very difficult to sustain this work and to feel supported and continue in the long term. And finally, commitment. We need a long-term commitment to this work because it's a lifetime that it's going to take to make some of the changes or sustain some of the changes that, and good things that have been made, good things that have been done in the past couple of decades. We've made progress. We have to fight to keep it and to maintain our respect for life, for planet, and for sustainable, peaceful, healthy populations. This was a wonderful youth assembly that has really inspired me to continue my work. It's wonderful to see young people who care, who understand a lot of the issues already, having lived in other parts of the world or just in Alberta. They're attentive, they're listening, they're asking good questions, and I think challenging the old guard in this province to think more deeply and longer term about the importance of human rights, peace, health, and sustainability. It's been a real privilege to be here.